We all know the saying, time is money. But recently I've been having this epiphany. I feel like the idea of making money is a lot easier than actually finding a way to make time. Does that make sense? Which is confusing since money is such a variable thing, but whereas time, we have the same amount every single day. Let's take money management as an example. Everyone knows that small consistent expenses will hurt your monthly savings more so than that one big expense. Mainly because you're preparing for that one big expense, whereas that small expense doesn't really impact your day-to-day life as much, which makes you more passive towards them. So the next question I have is, what if I tracked every single minute for the next 7 days? Will I become more mindful? Will I be more aware of my time? Will I be more productive? Or will it be a waste of time? So it is currently 7:52 and I'm about to start my tracking every single minute for 7 days. I'm about to start my morning routine. I woke up a little late today because I'm recovering from food poisoning. So yeah, so I'm gonna be using Toggle and you probably can't see it that well, but I'm gonna start and I'm gonna just type in morning routine and then get going. So the goal is very simple. The first 2 days, I plan on actually tracking every single minute without changing anything. This is a way to kind of get a baseline so I can improve upon what I already do. Also, I should mention that today is day 6 because I decided to film this whole video later in the week. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to talk about why I think this is super helpful to do. So for me, for anyone who's trying to really get productive and find areas in their life that they're kind of wasting time, this is a good challenge to do because it kind of breaks down your whole entire life because you're tracking every single minute of it. But at the same time, it is not sustainable. I also think that tracking every single minute of your life is not a really good thing to do for your mental health. I think you're gonna go crazy. But it is good to do for short term because it really gives you a bird's eye view of your life and where you can improve. I'm also going to the gym now, so enjoy this voiceover. So when you think about the idea of tracking every single minute for a whole week, you might think of tracking the minutes when you're in the bathroom or the minutes you're picking your nose. Right off the bat, I know I'm not going to do this. To make this sustainable for the next 7 days, I had to ask this question. How do I make this easier? Not to mention, what happens if you forget to track your time? Or how do you track the 10, 15, or 30 seconds you're on your phone responding or doing a small task? Oh, by the way, did I mention that this challenge is going to be incredibly hard? To answer this question, I'm going to split my days into blocks. So I'll bulk a series of my tasks. Take my morning routine as an example. To make my life easier, I'm just going to block my journaling, reading, meditating, and exercising into one group. This way, I'm not constantly thinking about tracking my minutes, but I'm aware of it. Next question is, what if I forget to track my time? I, for one, am a huge fan of reminders. So to solve this question, I'll set a reminder for every 2 hours to document what I've done. And this also gives me an opportunity to build a habit of reflection, which is always a plus. Every time I start one of these challenges, I have to calibrate my mind to rationalize my craziness, because this isn't normal. But I have to always ask myself first, why am I doing this?
Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief?
The biggest reason why I'm doing this challenge is because I want to have more free time. And I know that's counterintuitive to my goals and ambitions because they're really big. I want to accomplish a lot on YouTube and outside of YouTube. But I also want to have the discipline to get my work done on time so that I could use the extra free time and put it towards other people, to put it towards my health, to be more abundant. Okay, so today is day 3 of tracking every single minute, and it's surprisingly been a lot easier than I expected it to be since I went with the philosophy of like adding multiple series of tasks into blocks, so I'm blocking things. but we're gonna take a look at the calendar breakdown of how it actually went. So here's what it looks like. So the first thing that I should talk about is I did start tracking my time on Saturday and Sunday. So what I do on the weekends is definitely a lot different than what I usually do on Monday through Friday. But one of the good things about doing it in the weekends is there's low friction in terms of my attention being with my clients or my attention being on other things. So right off the bat, what I realized is that I do take a ton of time to watch the Yankees game. I'm a big baseball fan, and that takes up about 3 hours of my day. So either I have to like figure out how to watch less of that, or find a way to kind of multitask in some way where I'm like doing other stuff. But I generally like keeping my Yankee games as something that I just do to relax and recharge. You can see in my second day, I took a lot of like small chunks to do things. And when it comes to like focused work, when you're trying to do something and create something really good of value, whatever it is, whether you're talking to someone or you're creating a video or whatever, I feel like you need to have a large chunk of time allocated to it. What I'm realizing is that like I start something for like 30, 40 minutes, and I take a break, and then my rest and recovery starts becoming more than 5 minutes, and then it's hard for me to get back into it. So those are the big insights I've figured out from the last 2 days as my baseline. So now, where do you go from here? So everyone has remotely heard of the idea of the 80-20 rule. I decided to rent the book by the author who literally coined the term. Skimming through the book, I hope to find some insight and advice to best approach the next few days of optimizing my time. For those who need a quick refresher, the idea of the 80-20 rule is that 80% of your outcome will come from the 20% of input that you put into a task. Luckily on page 173, I found something that resonated with me. The concept of picking one priority every single day and doing that first. So following the 80-20 principle by Richard Hawk, I realized it doesn't take much to have a lot of impact in your day-to-day productivity. What I've realized now that moving forward with my challenge, I'm gonna focus on small actions that could potentially give me big impacts in terms of time saved. So for the remaining of the challenge, I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm gonna make 3 small changes and see how that impacts my rest of my day. The 3 challenges are: 1, I'm gonna plan on waking up 15 minutes earlier. 2, I'm gonna make my bed right away when I wake up. And 3, doing the most important task first. I'm not really sure how this is gonna turn out. All I know is that when you have momentum, you build more momentum. So doing these small actions could potentially give me more time. It might not, and this video might be a total flop, but it's okay, we're gonna try. I've been really excited about this concept of time constraints. You know, waking up 15 minutes earlier, now at 4:45 instead of 5, I've noticed something. What it's given me is the ability to start doing my morning routine exactly at 5. What I noticed earlier when I would wake up at 5, I would have like this leeway of going to the bathroom. I would be sometimes tired, so I would stay in bed for a minute longer than I usually do. And having this like lack of, urgency in the morning time really caused me to be all over the place when it came to journaling or reading or meditating or working out. Even though those are great habits, I wasn't really putting a sense of urgency into them. It was just something that I just did. And waking up 15 minutes early allows me to get into the routine right away. What I've noticed is that waking up 15 minutes early, I've been able to now get to work at 8 o'clock instead of 9 because I'm just super focused on getting the things that I want to get done in the morning done, which is really cool. This is a really interesting one, and I'm really excited about this particular change I made in my schedule because waking up right away and doing the bed before I do anything else increased my time of doing other things by like 15 to 20 minutes. And I think a lot of it had to do with because when I wouldn't make my bed, what would happen is I would go throughout my morning routine and I would constantly look at my bed not being done, and I would be less productive because I didn't want to take the effort to make the bed. Every time I would look at my dirty bed, I would just be like, ugh, I want to do something else. So doing the bed right away, making it clean, making my room clean right away as soon as I woke up really increased my freedom in my schedule, and it saved me 15 to 20 minutes, which was incredible. I originally wanted to focus on the most important task of the day and then getting it done right away. But I did that for a day and I realized that that didn't really sit well with me. So what I decided to do after was focus more on the value system of what makes me happy and more fulfilled in life. So what I do now instead is that I focus on scripting and writing 30 minutes a day before I do anything else. Because what I realized is that one of the things that brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment is when I'm in the constant state of creation, constantly creating things that can impact people. And if I'm not doing that first thing in the morning, then all the other work that I have, whether it's client work or whether I have to go talk to people, I'm just not present and I'm not happy. So I'm not gonna bring my 100% best self to the world. Today is day 7 of me tracking every single minute of my life as I'm filming this right now. And I'm pretty pumped to be done with this. Because the last 7 days of tracking every single minute, I've had this major discovery. It actually doesn't make sense to track every single minute of your life. It's not fun. In the last 7 days, I've tracked every aspect of my life. I've tracked my morning routine. I've tracked how much I drive. I've tracked how much time I watch TV. And to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy not tracking everything. I really do enjoy the changes that I have throughout my day because I look forward to them. Being spontaneous. With this discipline of tracking every single minute of my life, I realized that I got so paranoid with taking a break that was unintentional or, doing something that was different from my schedule. And I just don't think that's a really healthy way of living life. But with that said, I would still suggest if you're really interested in knowing where your time goes, I would track every bit of your life for a few days. What I would say is the best approach, in my opinion, is picking a few things that you do in your life and try to tweak them a little bit. I think changing small actions, going back to the idea of the 80-20 principle, picking a few actions that can ultimately give you a lot more output in terms of free time is a better approach. Because the moment I started making those 3 simple changes of waking up 15 minutes earlier, making my bed right away, and just focusing on the thing that brings me a lot of value first thing in the morning, outputted way more time in my day than just me constantly obsessed with every single minute of what I was doing. What I've learned is that everyone wants to have more time. And for me personally, when I was tracking every single minute of my life, I realized that I was having less time throughout the day because I was so obsessed with what I was doing. But the moment I let that go and focused more on what brings me value throughout the day, I just felt like I had more freedom. Was that deep? I really hope it was. I thought it was pretty good. Alright guys, that's all I have. See ya.